Everyone, welcome to IT Live, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Texas Homer. That is Paul Wadlington. We're going to pull up the depth chart and we're going to talk position by position, give our thoughts as we're kind of prepping for the spring game here. And Paul's being a trooper, man, dealing with being a little bit sick. But guess what? He told me he said, I cannot miss the guys in the chat. He was super excited to see y'all. So thank you, Paul. We really appreciate you, man.
That's not what happened.
Oh, okay. Sorry. What did happen?
I was crying because I'm sick.
Yeah.
And then you said, you're weak. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. You better be there.
Yep.
And then I was like, no, I don't want to do it, Connor. And then you were
I was like, "Or you'll be fired," and you were like, "You have no authority to fire me. In fact, I could probably fire you."
No, I'm just kidding. I am sick, so that's actually good because I'm on a bunch of drugs, so my head's light. So you can ask me questions. I might say what I really think.
Wow, that's gonna be awesome.
I might fire a lot of people in this show.
Yeah, Paul's gonna cut a lot of players too.
That's right.
All right, guys, join for just $1 over at Inside Texas. New members only. Would love to see you over there. If you're watching the channel, man, come join for $1. There's a lot more stuff over on the board. And like I said, it's an active community. There's some dead boards that I research for other teams, and that's a wholly different thing. So we'd love to see you over there as I silence my cell phone. All right, let's see what's up with the chat. What's up, Sandman? Utah Horn, Roaster. You're either elite or you're not, Paul. Paul's elite.
That's true.
Sugar Poppy, what's up? All right, Paul, do you have any inclination on where you would like to start here?
We're going to start with the defense, Connor.
We are going to start with the defense. I prefer that strong leadership. Where do you want to start on the defense, Paul? You want to start on defensive tackle?
Well, you're not starting on the defense, are you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can start on the defense.
Offense on the top.
Yeah.
We're going to start outside in. What do you think about that?
Okay. You want to start a literal outside in, corners?
No, we'll start as defensive tackle since that's how it's listed.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
I don't like these listings. I don't like how we're doing this. I'm already.
It's not you good, dude. You got to blame Evan, dude. He makes the chart. So
you know what?
File all complaints to Evan. All
right. Well, we're gonna have to make some differentiation here. So we're not gonna play one defensive tackle. We're gonna have two.
He's listing them by years of eligibility.
No, I know. So Hero Kanu is gonna be out there. He's gonna be a stalwart. He's gonna be a star for this defense. And then next to him, we'll have the big Arkansas transfer or Alex January. Mm-hmm. I think that'll be the guy playing nose next to Hero Kanu. What do you think?
I agree. And Eric reported on Saturday Intel that Muschamp is going positionally flexible when he's teaching these guys. So he's not going pure nose or DT, which I think is interesting because before we had these noses, we had all these DTs that were essentially they were smaller, more athletic, and they could kind of play different roles minus like a zero tech nose. So I like that fluidity of like even letting them try 4-eye and that kind of stuff. We discussed that slightly. And then, of course, you get like Gaffard, right, or Zion Williams, which you want is that pure like one technique or zero to anchor the defense. But the other guys, man, are pretty athletic for defensive tackles, and you can use that having less weight to make up for that for cool things that they could do, stunting or stuff like that, or in the pass rush.
Yeah, I mean, I think Murad Watson is a guy who's pretty interchangeable. I would be more reluctant to play him a lot against like mash it type teams.
Yeah.
He's a more finesse guy, but that could change in the offseason. I mean, maybe we get strong. And then I'm excited to see guys like Williams, Sharma, Charles. They had a year in the hopper, and so they'll be able to contribute snaps. I like our depth here on the interior, and I think I really like Kanu, as you know. So
yeah,
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I think this will be a strength of the room. Also, you returned a lot as well. So you have that older class. You have exciting younger guys. You have guys that can pass rush. You do have your anchors now because that was kind of a missing piece. So I think it's a complete room as well. And then you have, like we said, Josiah Sharma is someone I've had my eye on since he committed because he's a really impressive blend of like nose size, but with really, really strong athleticism. So I think this will be the anchor of the room for sure. And then you can kind of build out from there. And these guys are going to have to do this kind of work too in Muschamp. If you're playing 3 down and 4 eyes and zero techs, these guys are going to be important in helping our linebackers who are a little bit undersized as well and keeping them clean. So they'll serve a very concrete role for us.
Brad Spence is not an edge.
Yeah, this is where Evans having a list, but they're gonna move him to linebacker most likely.
Yeah. He did play linebacker officially at Arkansas, but
Yeah.
if you watch those Arkansas defenses under Travis Williams, they were very gimmicky, and he was mostly point and fire. He wasn't sitting
I was
there.
going to say, so his thing was he had edge traits, right? If the ball was in front of him, he would be able to go down and hit him, but he wasn't great in space in dropping back. And you have to be able to do both. So we didn't get that ideal, freak Mike that you're used to at Georgia. So we're going to have to kind of make other things work. And Spence as depth at Mike or something, but he's not the perfect Mike fit there. There's a reason why we brought him in and said you're an edge, but we'll have to kind of see there. Please bring back the spring game. It's back.
It's back.
It's already back.
I'm excited.
Yeah, Del Conte. Yeah, he announced it's back, man. So I'm really excited about that because I was telling Eric.
Let's talk about the real edges.
Yep.
So I think we're gonna have Colin Simmons opposite of Lance Jackson, and then you've got Zeno Umeozulu, Justice Terry. Justice Terry can play through over different positions of the defensive line, but I think they like him at that strong side edge. I think so, Connor, and I want to hear what the chat has to say. I'm inclined to split up Zena and Justice Terry, meaning Zena, I would make him Colin Simmons' primary backup, along with Colton Bosick. And then I would have Lance Jackson and Justice Terry on the other side. What do you think?
Colin Simmons as the Jack. I agree with Jackson at strong side. Yeah, are you splitting them up for utilitarian reasons too, right?
Why would you have Zena, Lance Jackson, and Justice Terry?
Why do you want these guys as third stringers, right? So it's just it's like I want to get these guys in second. And I really like Zena, man. Like he pops on tape a lot. He has a really nice bull rush too. The Jack has to drop in coverage a lot in 3 down. We talked about that on our last Saturday show. So you do want some effective pass drop ability. But I would agree with that. I have a similar reasoning that we'll talk about with wide receiver, where I'm moving players around, not necessarily because I think it has to be the best position, but because we have a lot of good players there and they need to at least be in the 2 deep. So I agree with you there. Orogbo too, man. Remember that was someone in film study that we thought popped.
He's a true Jack.
He's a true Jack, and he's fast, man. Like he's the closest approximation to Colin Simmons off the line. So younger, getting older. That's how age works, and he's going to be something that's interesting in the pass rush. So you learn stuff on this channel too, guys.
And then Wesley, our edge room is loaded. So Wesley and Carlton are guys who would be fighting for real snaps at 90% of other programs as true freshmen, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know how we're going to get them on the field. I mean, obviously, if they just blow somebody away in the spring, they're going to get on the field, but man, they've got some real talent stacked ahead of them. So, an opportunity for them to redshirt and get and hone their craft. And then those guys are going to get unveiled next year.
Yeah. And we'll see. I mean, hopefully you can get up enough to get these guys meaningful reps. And Eric reported too recently that, a source said Richard Wesley is going to have a long NFL career. They said he has like the mentality of a 24-year-old. Which is weird too, because he's also a year young. He reclassified, so he's a young player. But they say,
he's very young, right?
Yeah, but he's strong. He's twitchy. Like he's one of the rare reclassifications that you're like, okay, this can work, and it's not just getting antsy to get to the money, right?
Yeah, I typically don't like reclassifications, but
especially on like trench positions, right? But that one was a different one. Carlton. He's gotten big, dude. Like I watched his junior year tape to his senior year tape, and Jamarian's got that 4-eye, even 3-tech build right now. He's gotten really big. So he's going to have positional flexibility. And Georgia used a lot of that body type too, right? They will use that really athletic big guy. So this is another room. Like on the defensive line, I just feel great about it. Little execution things, and this can change with Muschamp because the stimulus will be different there, but they need to get a little bit more sound in like containing the edge, those kind of things as a room. But overall, the talent here is remarkable. A lot of NFL stuff, and I think they're going to tear it up. Really excited to see Lance Jackson mostly take that next step.
Do you think Jamarian's sack dance should be the Carlton?
There we go. Yeah. I know that one. I know that reference. I got that one. But yeah, that would be solid. But Brad Spence, maybe edge if linebacker doesn't work out, but I see what you did there, Evan. It's all good. Linebacker, Rasheem Biles, baby.
Yeah.
This is my most exciting addition.
He is very similar to Ty Anthony Smith. He's a twitchy guy. Talk about point and shoot. Pitt loves to blitz their linebackers. They love to stunt their linebackers, and Rasheem Biles excelled. I've called him an oversized safety, and that's really what he is. In 25 years ago, he would have been your strong safety, but
without a doubt,
now they added 5 pounds to him and say you're a linebacker. So keep this guy clean, and he's going to make a bunch of plays. You ask him to kind of do traditional linebacker stuff like stack and shed, maybe not his ideal use.
Yeah, but he can cover his ass off. Like he's incredible in coverage, man. And like he can get interceptions and house them. And I remember when we did a film study on him with Drew was like, that's a DB. Like how he moves how fluid his hips are and all of that stuff. Like he's remarkable in pass coverage. At Pitt, they would send him literally off the edge too. And then he has real confidence and understanding of the scheme. He's getting those interceptions and those fumble recoveries because he understands the weaknesses of the offense. So he's a smart player, and he has incredible acceleration too. So he's going to give us, like Paul said, a great boost in the blitz department, but also in coverage, man. If you're throwing over the middle thinking a linebacker shouldn't be able to get there, Biles can absolutely get there. So to me, it's the most exciting addition. I really think that guy's a baller.
Yeah, I agree. Drew's a good guy to comment on that body type.
Exactly. Right? Drew knows exactly the safety linebacker blend. And then Juice Cryer out of Florida State. Experienced Mike, not a great mover in space.
So I actually know a little bit about him.
Go for it.
I know a Florida State guy pretty well and said, hey, what's the deal on this guy? And he said, hey, good thing is he was kind of a fan favorite because the last 2 years, Florida State players kind of quit on the field when things don't go great. And he's a guy that just plays all out, all game, doesn't care about the score. Said he's very physical, good guy, like good team guy, slow.
Yeah.
Slow. Like you don't want to get him matched up on the edge. You don't want to get him into a lot of pass responsibilities other than taking 5 steps back and hands up.
Yeah.
He's not a guy you want carrying a running back up the seam. So that ultimately, I think he's there to be a depth piece. He is not there to be like our Mike, every down. Like that's not his use. I think he's a situational player and a backup.
I agree. And at Mike, right, which I think you need that depth. Now he's a good forward mover. Like he hits hard. Like if this was 30 years ago, you'd be like, hell yeah, for Juice Cryer. If it's just running and smacking guys, that's what he does. He hits guys hard, and if he'll meet guys in the hole. It's just you don't want him, like you said, getting manned up with a running back and chasing him to the flats or even dropping back. So I don't see a starting position here, but I like your mental eval, Paul, because when we got him, the room had no one in it. And so clearly they were like, hey, we need some mature players that can show the younger players and just be good in the room and then step in when we need them to. And I think Juice Cryer will provide that. Yeah.
And, situationally, it's the team that we're playing that they're kind of running downhill on us. And they're like, hey, put in Juice Cryer. Like, let's knock this off. Like, let's cut this out.
Yep.
And then Cryer makes a couple of pops in the hole. And then suddenly it gets derailed. Right. One fear I would have anytime any offense that we play is that we get ball controlled, right? Mm-hmm. Because we have smaller linebackers. You don't want to have that running back keep falling forward and making it 2nd and 5, right? So I think he's also a situational guy where he goes in there and you're like, man, we really needed him against fill in the blank. And maybe Missouri, right? And he really helped us in that game. He had 8 tackles, and then the next week he plays 12 snaps.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at with him. Ty Anthony Smith, man. Great showing versus Michigan. A lot of interceptions. The athleticism flashes. It always has. He was one of those guys that when he came on campus, the coaches were talking about him. They like his mentality. He does everything behind the scenes well. My gripe is that he's undersized and not undersized like at the low end of what a linebacker should be. So like I would say, anywhere between 220 and 240, right? He's at like 216. So he's going to have to pack it. It's not undersized. Like he's below undersized. So he's, maybe he packs on the weight. That would be helpful. But the athleticism is clearly there. Without bringing in that surefire Mike, I think him and Biles are going to be your starters, and they'll kind of make it work, right?
Yeah, keep them clean. Sorry, but
no, you're all good.
Clean. They're super athletic. And then, hey, this offseason, let's get up to 227.
Yeah, that's going to be the big key. But everything else behind the scenes, good with him, and he's clearly progressing. Boswell, man, another pickup that we grabbed that I think is, future depth.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of him, to be honest.
I mean, he has good size. I mean, he's coming in at like 230 or whatever, if I'm correct. So he has the requisite size. So maybe something gets turned in there, but a lot of that too is, to me, just kind of filling out the room too for the future. And then speaking of the future, Tyler Atkinson is a player that has been talked about as like, I guess there's kind of like this 3 freshmen that they're looking to actually integrate forcefully. And that's like Atkinson, Cooper. Why am I blanking on the Bishop at wide receiver? And I've said it a bunch, but Atkinson, he has a YouTube channel. You can watch what he does. That guy trains like a pro since he was like a junior in high school. He's at all the fancy gyms in Austin. He's hanging out with all the former players. The kid seems to get it and understand what it takes to be a pro. Because like I said, he's living like that already with recovery and all of that. And then he has a special amount of athleticism at the linebacker position. Profiles more to a will. That's kind of a theme here, is we have a lot of wills, meaning like a more athletic pass coverage type linebacker. We don't have a lot of true Mikes, which is, I think, a potential weakness. We'll have to see, but expect Atkinson to play early on too.
We got to hope where there's a will, there's a way, Connor.
Yeah.
I think Atkinson's going to be in the 2 deep rotation day one. And I think he's going to play a lot. Rocky Cummings might be a guy who gets in games. If you watch his tape, he moves pretty well, and he's just kind of a tackle magnet. So, but Atkinson is incredibly gifted. And he's very similar to Biles and Anthony Smith. So I think he can play either position.
Yeah. And then Kosi also got a shout out from Eric in the workout world, right? Who's killing it at lifting weights. Kosi's a strong player.
Oh, that's good.
So he's already showing out in the squat rack and taking notice there. He played much more edge in high school.
Yeah.
Which you see a lot, right? Like they want to put their twitchy athletes on the edge, even if they profile the linebacker. So probably has to learn the position. It's a tough position to learn, man. Like linebackers, very complicated, very versatile. You have to do a lot of things. And it's a reps position, as Ian always says. Like you need a lot of looks. Like you can't really simulate linebacker that well in practice, because you need to see guys moving and all of that. It's not like wide receiver where you can run your routes basically by yourself and understand it. So linebacker should be on a little bit of a longer curve to become a linebacker. Now, if you're such a freak athlete like Anthony Hill, we can find ways to get you in early and use your skill set. But as far as like being a sound linebacker, that normally takes a little while.
I mean, Anthony Hill was he was a point and shoot guy.
Well, Anthony Hill never really became like a true linebacker, and that's why the NFL is dinging him now. He had a lot of issues on the linebacking side, but he was just so fast and dominant in that way.
The spread offense has been incredible. The proliferation of the spread offense has been incredible in Texas for wide receiver development, for quarterback development. It's been really bad for linebackers, because when you have the linebacker who's twitchy, it's hard to just play him off the ball as like a true linebacker. You want him to be blitzing or stunning or dropping into coverage. And those are great traits, but that's not what makes a complete linebacker. And so when someone lines up in 12 personnel and runs downhill, and you've got to press the correct gap and then break outside and take on a guard and stuff like that, these guys don't know how to do it. So they're learning.
Especially when Georgia starts pulling guys 7 different directions and doing all that. Like your instincts can only come from reps. And so it's also that part. Like those guys get really smart at identifying stuff. And it was same with like Overshown, right? Where it's like you would see these incredible flash plays, but as far as like pure linebacking, it wasn't always there. But Texas has still found ways to have a lot of success with these ultra athletic linebackers that don't technically do everything right, but it doesn't matter. When they do make an impact, it's so devastating that it cancels out a little bit of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a value to just having guys who can punish the offense for mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. And that's Biles, that's Anthony Smith, that's Tyler Atkinson, that's the body types that you may not play inside zone perfectly, but there's also a chance you get a strip sack fumble going the other way.
Yep.
So you
Or
kind of
pick you off. They pick you off, thrown over the middle, and
that's it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not that worried about it. If we were a traditional team that was known for just like linebackers smacking dudes always in the right gap, but for years we've had success with these will types that make wow plays. All right, before we go to the secondary, let's hear a quick word from Academy.
Fast one.
Same day delivery powered by DoorDash.
We're back. All right,
Man, that's quick.
Yep. Corner, Bo Masco. Guy we pulled from Rutgers. I watched his tape. Well, I watched Penn State. They're playing man the whole time. It's brutal. Like they're just running every man beater, and not brutal for Bo. It's like defensive scheme wise. It's like, why are we manning up Penn State? But it was fun to watch. You got to see a lot of man reps, which was the benefit of that. He has a different ceiling here, man. Like he can be a corner number 3, like really playing depth. But there's also a world too where he could, if he has a crazy spring, he can start. So it's like you have maturity. Now there's young guys that we're really excited about. But I'm just saying the quality of Bo Masco, I was impressed with.
I think he's a huge addition. And Will Muschamp wants to man up outside. So inside the hashes, we're doing a mixture of coverages and zone and stuff. But even in his zone coverages, a lot of the philosophy and theory of it is that you're playing effectively man outside the boundary, outside there. You want a guy who can carry up a vertical and a long guy who can really impede people at the line of scrimmage. And that's Bo Masco. I think he's a huge addition. So whether he's a changeup or whether he's the starting corner, we'll find out. The spring is going to have a robust competition out here.
Yeah.
But I thought he was a huge addition.
This is kind of a slept on one. Like I don't hear fans mention him much, and I think that's unwise. I think you definitely should start including him as an impactful transfer, because having a great starter is great. Having a great number 3 is also equally important, man, because corners get rotated a lot. And we'll have to see how much of that was philosophy of PK or edict of Sark. Like, I do wonder the subbing that's going on, if that was from Sark saying you need to do this, or if that was purely a PK thing. But if we continue to sub at the rate that we did, you need these kind of guys in the rotation. Then we get some cool stuff, man. You get Kobe Black back. You get Roberson back. And then Wardell Mack was flirting with the portal. I don't know if he ever officially went in, but he stayed. So you had guys that thought about leaving and returned, and I was glad. I didn't really want to lose a single one of these guys. And so this cornerback room is probably on defense the one I'm most excited for to see what we have.
Well, and honestly, you're going to have to match up cornerback and nickel, right? Because we're kind of making it inclusive of that too.
Yep.
So there's guys here we're listing at corner that, I don't want to say they're the loser of the cornerback battle goes to nickel, because it might just be the best body type that fits nickel goes to nickel, and then we figure out cornerback. But there's 3 spots available, and we've got a bunch of bodies who are legitimately in competition. I mean, we got 6 guys legitimately fighting for starting jobs for those 3 spots. And I think all of them have showed upside. I mean, late in the year, Kobe Black played great. Wardell Mack played really well.
Roberson made some awesome plays versus A&M.
Roberson's incredibly gifted. People get frustrated with him because of the special teams nonsense. But, man, that guy can man you up.
Yeah.
Like put you on an island.
He's full field, like chase a crosser.
Yes. Yeah. Not just like a narrow third, right?
Yeah.
And then also not shy about throwing his body, right? We saw that in the Michigan game.
That's the problem with the penalties. You're getting this upside of a really aggressive, and sometimes it backfires, but you gotta pull him back, which is better than trying to force him to be aggressive. His mistakes come from that he's game, and he wants to get after it. I think ultimately you're probably looking at something like, to me, just off the top of my head, I would do like maybe a Cade Kobe combination at starting corner with Bo as the third corner, and then Littleton at nickel. But also I could hear like Cade and Grayson at nickel, and then put Mac there. But also, I'm down with Kobe at nickel too, because a lot of that times the nickel in the Muschamp scheme, he's being protected by the safety. He's not being asked to carry routes deep. So you can select for a bigger corner that's really good in the run. And Kobe's success versus A&M was recognition and immediate action, like those interceptions or he hits that slant. That was Kobe knowing what was going on and attacking in front of him. And a nickel, that's a nickel trait. Now, I Kobe, some corners are just like, I will not be a safety. I will not be a nickel. But you have to see kind of their ego, right? But I think you have great nickel options and great corner options, and you can mix and match this in almost any way, and I would not critique the coaches for it. And that's very rare for me, right?
I agree. Yeah, you like to critique the coaches.
Yeah, I like to critique it, and I'd be good with whatever they do.
And of the 6 that we have there for those 3 spots, the freshman most likely to break through would be Samari Matthews. I love that guy.
Yeah.
I think he's really gifted. That guy from South Carolina. If you go watch his high school tape and his body type, Connor, if you do this long enough, you know that body type. You see how those guys move. And those guys who can glide like laterally without losing a step, without losing any momentum, it's hugely valuable in the secondary. And he's got those long arms. He's got the long frame. He's kind of a baller, like just his mentality. Yeah. I love Samari Matthews, but he's going to have his work cut out to break into the competition because there's 6 dudes that are going to be fighting hard.
Well, and also the beauty of it, and I think our man David Keith Williams, he says, considering that very talented DBs, Littleton, Mack, and transfer Belmasco can play numerous positions, I think it enhances the secondary depth. It makes the secondary very multiple. And it does. And it's like, look, you can have the second and that points the third string in, and I'm comfortable. That's a beautiful thing to have, especially at such an impact position like a corner or a nickel, really a corner, right? Like a bad corner can lose you a game. Yeah. They will identify the number 2 corner and they will put their number 1 receiver on them, and you can lose simply because of that player. And so that's why it's huge to have this level of depth and just NFL upside, man. Like, I mean, who's not an NFL player here?
We're going to find out.
Yeah, we're going to find. But right now, if I'm projecting, it's like these are NFL players, just like across the board.
Well, I've always made the O-line comparison, and obviously different body types, different mentalities, but cohesion is a big deal. And then the big key is you don't want a weak link because you can isolate the weak link in today's offenses and just repeatedly attack him. It's like Will Johnson with Michigan 2 years ago. Texas is like, oh, we won't throw at you at all.
And we literally didn't.
Like literally one target the entire game. And then we just made Gunnar Helm and the opposite receiver the hero of the game, and then threw a bunch of balls to the backs coming out of the backfield. So don't allow that. And if everyone is at least pretty good, and then you got a couple of actual stars, man, you're in good shape in your secondary. But if you got one guy that's an outlier, he's going to get picked on all game.
Yeah, and the crucial part too, say the team we face, their offense has a stud number 1, right? Well, then you get paranoid and you're always using your corner and your safety on them, and that hurts the rest of the defense. If you can get these guys to successfully man up, legit number 1s too, with little or less help, they will need some help, but less help, that also protects the rest of your defense too. So it's really important. Coaches on defense always want one stud corner because they can cheat their coverages in a lot more ways when you have that. All right. And I think you'll get one of those from this group. All right. Safety, Jelani comes back. I think that's number 1. We'll talk about that. I thought that was a huge return. He needs to learn more safety. It's the linebacker thing. He needs to become more of a safety-ish safety, but he gets Gideon. He gets Muschamp. I think the coaching will get him there. And then, of course, we know how incredible and special of an athlete he is.
Yeah, I love Jelani. I mean, that's the one. I mean, along with Colin Simmons and Hero Kanu and Rasheem Biles, like pencil them in as, put permanent marker as starters for those guys. I love Jelani. He's a great player, and he can play near the line of scrimmage. He can play kind of that free safety deep and break on balls. He's long. He's got great recovery. He's very physical. I mean, he will fire and he will hit you. I love Jelani. I mean, he's just an obvious NFL player, and I think we're very fortunate to have him come back.
Yeah. Another guy we get back that's important, Derek Williams. Him and Akina did not have the best relationship from what I've been told. It was more on the Akina side that was maybe causing that than Derek Williams, lack of engagement or whatever. And so Derek Williams coming back, hey, we're bringing Gideon back, man. You don't got to go anywhere. That's a good thing. You get maturity. He's a year off of that injury. We remember how the game that always sticks out to me was that Oklahoma game that he played before he got injured. So you get maturity back. You get a more engaged player who now feels more comfortable in the culture. And then he gets his coach back. So I thought in safety, they did a lot of really smart things and made correct moves with what's likely to be the top line starters.
Yeah, I think there's a real battle here opposite Jelani McDonald. I don't have anyone. I think a lot of people are saying like with certainty, oh, it's going to be Williams or it's
I can't.
I don't buy that at all. I mean, to me, the ideal world would be Jelani McDonald and Jonah Williams running around together. But I don't know if Jonah is going to get the reps and the time if he does baseball. So, Williams, Filsaime, and Johnson Rubel are all very different types of safety as well. So it kind of depends on what our tastes are there, right?
Yeah, if you want speed, right, then you want to get Filsaime up to speed, no pun intended. And then Jordan Johnson Rubel, he didn't play a lot, but the reps that I did see from him, I always noticed him. And he was his kind of mental eval is that he's a solid player behind.
He's the most Taft-like,
for sure. So yeah, there's a mix here now. You know, we dealt with a lot with the safeties last year. A lot of that feels like coaching. And so we can see that change. So I'm not really ready to grade, Filsaime on his output if I think the coaching wasn't there for him. So I want to see what he looks like under Gideon.
Yeah, his tape was terrible, frankly.
Right.
But I think coaching had a huge role in that. And for a guy who's fast, he played really slow. So I think a lot of that is just not knowing what's going on and our bad coaching, which was evident. I mean, you and I broke it down on Deep Dive with Ian many times. But I'm interested to see what Filsaime does with certainty. Like certainty will really help an athlete who's gifted. So that's the job of Muschamp and Gideon to infuse that. And then Jonah Williams, I don't know what you do with him, right? I mean, he's playing baseball, obviously, right?
Yep.
Doesn't he really need a spring to really grab that job opposite Jelani, or is he hoping to just do it in August?
I mean, I'm sure that's what he's hoping to do, but it's that's tricky, man. Especially they're installing a new scheme, and I asked, is he grinding film? And they're like, yeah. Like he's even when he's doing baseball, he's still making sure he's learning, but it's different than being on the field, right? Especially at safety, you need to see what it looks like. You need to really understand concepts and like understand your place. And that to me is where I can identify as safeties there. They're out in the middle of the field. No one's around them, but they know what's going on. They can feel that route breaking behind them. They're moving. They're sensing. And developing that at safety is really important. Of course, Jonah has incredible athleticism. Anytime you see him on the field, he just you have all these NFL players on Texas, but he's the one that your eye goes right to because he's huge on top of being athletic. But yeah, man, it's tricky. And I wonder if at some point he's going to, choose what route he's going to go, if it's football or if it's baseball. But that one's going to be frustrating for a while because you see what he could be, but he'll naturally be kind of limited by the nature of being a two-sport athlete. But in a perfect world, man, you get Jelani and Jonah there, man. It's incredible if you can get both of them starting.
Yeah, I mean, two monsters. When we did play them last year, we played them at like punt returner depth and just said, keep everything in front of you.
Right.
You could see the movement and the size leaps out. I mean, when he's standing next to Ty Anthony Smith, I'm not talking about just like pure height and weight on the program. He's a bigger guy. Like, you could tell. I mean, he's a really big guy and hits like a load of bricks and he can run. So very tempting, but I understand the desire to play baseball. If you're good enough to play that game, you can play for a long time and make a lot.
If I'm advising you between football and baseball and you can go first round in both, if you can go early first round in both, I'm advising you to go baseball, man. Just the reality, the money you can get at the height of baseball, the lack of destroying your body. I think baseball's the pick, but I hope he doesn't pick that. I hope he does the exact opposite of what I would advise him to do.
Yeah.
All right. Paul, do you want to tell everyone who the greatest mortgage man in the land is right now?
I do. And it's appropriate that as we transition from defense, we go on the offense, because I want you to go on the offense with this guy right here. Dial these digits right now. If you're looking to refi or buy a new home, This is the guy. Don't use Connor's phone. Use your own phone. Dial 832-557-1095 and ask for the best damn mortgage guy in the great state of Texas. And Gabe Winslow will answer to that because it's truthful. That's what he is. Got to give him a call. Former UT grad, National Merit Scholar, got a law degree. This guy's awesome at what he does. He just got back from San Diego because he went on some awards contest for being one of the highest originators in the state of Texas. Here's why he's so awesome. He's a broker, which means he doesn't work for Big Bank USA. He doesn't work banker's hours. He works all the time. He works his butt off for you. And what he's going to do is take your deal, he's going to structure it, and he's going to bid it out to about 50 different lenders and let them compete against each other. Connor, if you have a choice of a monopoly or 50 people competing, which is preferable?
50 people competing. Final answer.
100%. Well done. That's why you want to call Gabe, in addition to the fact that he's just great at what he does. Look at the raving Google reviews. Look at all the raves every time we put up his ads on Horn Fans Inside Texas. He's the guy that you want. 832-557-1095.
All righty. Let's talk offense. People like offense, I've heard.
Yeah, people like touchdowns, touchdown plays.
It's very concrete. It's very exciting. We're gonna start Arch Manning here. I just kind of feel it in my gut. He's cruising around. He's scootered up right now. Healing off that foot injury, but he'll be back for spring. Him taking the next step. The one thing to me, did you see that anonymous scout about Arch Manning? He needs to do X, Y, Z. I'm not taking him as the first quarterback right now. And then fans are like, what is this scout talking about? Da, da, da. I thought he was over the top, but a lot of his core critiques were correct. He basically just said Arch needs to be a little bit faster at processing these kind of things that we see. I think that's accurate. I think that's true of almost every quarterback I can name too, though. I didn't think it was really that profound, but anytime an outside scout questions a player, then the fan base has to fire up. But
I don't have a ton of. First of all, NFL draft Twitter is the dumbest Twitter that there is, and that's a statement because Twitter's really dumb.
Well, anonymous scout too is always fun, right?
Also, anonymous scout. Half of those are made up by the writer because they.
I was going to say you have to be aware, but I still thought the core messaging of it, though, a little bit tweaked for social media to make it a little bit. Yeah, but that's what he was saying, is that he needs to improve, and everybody's like, and all the fans are just like, Arch doesn't need to improve. It was very weird. But processing a little bit faster, I agree with, and then most importantly, short game.
Yeah, he's in his little layups for sure.
Yeah, like if Arch can just figure out mesh, then he becomes far more of a complete player, because those short passes, man, those are what keep you in 2nd and 5, man. Those are what keep you on schedule. If I had to, the Tom Brady school of success was all flats and 5-yarders. Like, it's a huge part of your game, and it's a huge part for easy third down conversions too. So that's the next step for Arch.
You were saying before the show that you would start MJ Morris as a message to Arch to.
Yeah, for sure. You can't miss anything short, and so I would have to bench Arch probably for the whole preseason, including
Ohio State.
No, you got to send him out. You got to teach him a lesson from last year, right?
That's right. He played poorly against Ohio State last year, so I think you bench him for that game and you play MJ Morris. I think that'll go well.
Yeah, and MJ is interesting for his scout value because he can mirror a lot of quarterbacks. He's had years of experience. He's not a great quarterback. We're not going to sell you on that. But Sark likes 4 guys in this room, and I think some of that is utilitarian again, of like, hey, when we're running drills, I need 4 guys.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, if you're 4th, you're scout, but he can present a lot of stuff too in scout. So I think that has value. But Sark wants 4 guys. I don't think you're going to get the Caldwell situation from Morris where he will just come in and win the game for you. I don't think that's the case, right?
So important thing to watch that will be interesting at least. Who gets the mop up duty?
Who gets the what?
The mop-up duty.
Oh, mop-up duty.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Lacey.
Okay.
Well, it depends. No, I don't even know if it depends. Because with Caldwell, I would say bring in Lacey for like you're up 30. But for Caldwell, if a quarterback gets hurt, bring Caldwell in. But I don't even know I think it might be Lacey in both situations here, maybe.
Yeah. Could it be Diabell?
No, I don't think so. And I love Diabell.
File transfer papers, right?
Yeah, well, Dia had he got injured, so he didn't even play last season. He's still recovering from that. He's gonna be new. I love Dia, by the way. Don't take this as I'm sliding Dia. Dia is gonna be the future starter. He's amazing. But I do think KJ Lacey, from everything I hear behind the scenes, has gotten kind of looked over, which is understandable with Dia Bell. But right now at this position, I think sleeping on Lacey in that role would be unwise, because I think he's shown that he's a smart player. Of course, he did awesome stuff in high school as well, but he's got leadership. I think KJ is your number 2 this year, your true number 2. And then Dia and him battle it out in the offseason next year, and Dia probably wins at that point. What's your feeling, Paul? You agree?
Dia in Spanish means day.
Good job, dude. Yeah, Paul's been on that Duolingo, guys. He's been on it. But yeah, I think that's what I think for I think Arch will start too. All right, running back. Paul, we did it, brother.
We did it.
We did it, brother.
The running back room.
We remade the running back room.
All new names, all new faces, except for 2 guys. A year late, but we got it done. Raleek Brown, Hollywood Smothers come in. Raleek comes in from Arizona State. I watched him some last year, and very dynamic, like big gain type of back. Not necessarily a guy like, is your 4-yard chain mover, your grinder. Right. Hollywood Smothers, similar. Maybe a little more every down back. I think they're going to split carries, but Raleek's got a neck tattoo, so you like that X factor, good and bad.
Pain tolerance, high pain tolerance.
Yeah, also suggests a little bit of a wild card.
Yep.
You might want to assign him an off-season driver. But
we're gonna go full Georgia mode.
He can hit big plays. Hollywood Smothers, both of those guys can catch, which is important in Sark's offense.
Yep.
And then you've got some interesting guys, kind of fighting for that number 3 role, maybe as the big back or the changeup. I still like James Simon, or at least from what he showed us last year. Is he too similar to Brown and Smothers, or does that even matter, right? I mean, people get very into like, well, we need a big back. It's like, well, I mean, if you had 3 Jamal Charles, you wouldn't say you need a big back. You'd be fine with 3 Jamal Charles, right?
Yep.
Not that any of these guys are at that level, but the idea is a little manufactured, right? Well, we have to have Derek Cooper as the number 3 guy. We have to have Michael Terry as the 3rd guy because we need that big back. It's like, okay, well, if James Simon's really good, we don't need that big back.
You need a pass blocker is what you need. So for me, that 3rd guy is whoever can pass block. And when I was talking to Eric yesterday about it, he thinks probably Simon. Cooper will have a role because he's in those 3 guys, right, that are high paid.
Well, that's the thing is if you pay a freshman, especially a running back, you kind of have to pay him. Like, guys, remember, we started Cedric Baxter over Jonathan Brooks. And
that was crazy.
Cedric Baxter was not the better running back, but it was a pay thing. It was a freshman star. We're paying him. We got to start him. I don't like that, but it is what we did. That is the truth of the record. So Derek Cooper we're going to bend over backwards to find him a role.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm excited about Simon. Michael Terry, got to find that spot for him. He's got the problem with Terry is he's got good traits for every position, but he doesn't have dominant traits at each position. So he doesn't have enough wide receiver traits to be a starting wide receiver. He doesn't have enough running back traits to be a starting running back. So it's like he's in that middle. Now he's the most overall probably gifted if you had to create a position called a wide receiver running back. You would do that. But the problem is he doesn't have the dominant skill. He kind of has a jack of all trades thing going on. And so we got to see as he specializes. And I think, Charlie and Eric are really, it's like he would be a dominant defensive player, but he doesn't want to play defense. So we've got to figure out his role, but I know fans are excited about him. But running back room looks miles better. We might be down in Texas's stats last year, which were leaderships per game.
Yeah.
We might be down in some leaderships per game, but I think we're going to make up for that in actual yards per rush.
Yeah. I tend to have a bias towards backs who break tackles or create missed tackles and add to the run.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So.
Well, a lot of people like who talks the most in workouts. And we had a lot of talks the most in workouts running backs. But I'm just crazy, and I like at running backs that produce. So I'm excited about that. Really excited about this room. And I think Sark made hard decisions, right? Baxter's a lovable guy. Like, I'm making fun of those guys, but the truthfully is, like, I totally get why they had their roles. They're really likable. They were great leaders, all of that. But just, man, this is a results business, and we weren't seeing that from them.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely props to the staff. You and I both think they were a year late doing this, but they absolutely did it. And they absolutely remade the room, and they ignored Joe Fan, who sort of has an attachment to certain players.
Yep.
And a lot of that's built off of hype and recruiting and not actual on-field production. And ultimately they made some tough decisions and remade the room and probably saved money or broke even.
And to miss on Baugh and Brown and go, okay, we'll take Brown and Smothers. Like that.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about. We'll talk about O-line. That was the strategy I needed at O-line. They missed on like their 2 top targets, missed because they didn't enter the portal, Baugh, and they said, okay, who are the next best availables? Yeah. And they still ended up with the best running back haul on top of that. So I just thought they handled that room really well. And then you get Jabbar Jalouk in there, who I have respect for as an actual running back coach, an evaluator, and helping them with skill acquisition. So it's really excited what they did there, top to bottom in the running back room.
Yep.
Wide receiver, man. We can talk Burkhalter first.
We can talk Sterling Burkhalter all day.
Yeah. Big guy, experienced guy, really good depth there. They're weird. Like I don't really know the strategy of this room besides Cam Coleman. But because I didn't think you really needed it, but maybe, like I said, there was a utilitarian value, and I don't want to knock Burkhalter. He could end up on your 2 deep as an outside receiver for sure. Maturity and size, that matters. We definitely got guys that can go downfield more, that are bigger and can win contested. And that was something that I always like in receivers. Do you have any
talent that we have at wide receiver? There's a lot of value in a guy who you tell him to run 12 yards down the field and turn around in the open spot. And he does that, and he catches the ball, and we move the chains. And that's what he's there to do. So this room really upgraded itself. We were excited about running back. Connor, this is a potentially really exciting room. Obviously, we would really like Wingo to kind of level up. We think Emmett Mosley can be that really crafty, big body number 3 chain mover, right? Who's going to not get a lot of coverage attention. And because of that, he's always going to sort of be open and available. Yeah. And you got Cam Coleman blowing it off, over the top, which is just huge for this offense because it really suits Arch's skill set. And we did a real fun deep dive on Cam Coleman, me and Ian and Connor doing his excellent producing. If you guys haven't watched it, go back and search it up. We did it, a month ago. Cam Coleman's really gifted. He's not perfect, but man, Auburn misused him. And
it's brutal.
We're going to use him correctly. So just be excited about this guy. I know you look at his stats and you're kind of like, I don't see the big deal. Yep. Just understand he's very gifted. There's a reason he was the number 1 receiver in the portal.
Yeah. So my thought when I was talking about, I don't remember what position I was talking about, but you were talking about edge, how you would move players around just to get them on the 2 deep because you think they're so talented. That's kind of what I'm doing with the receiver, because you'll hear like Jermaine Bishop is the star freshman, once again, one of those big 3 freshmen, right? And he's exciting, dude. He's an awesome football player and somebody that I'm totally okay with getting on the field. But how they have it right now, or how the reporting's coming out, is that he's like 3rd at slot. I've never seen a 3rd string slot for Sark ever get on the field. Yeah. So it's like, that doesn't even make sense to me. Like every year we're like, well, they're going to start rotating, and they just don't. So I would actually move Bishop as like a number 2 Z behind Wingo. So I would have Cam Coleman and Khalil Lockett at boundary as X, as those big fade receivers like you saw Khalil do versus Michigan. And then at slot, I would have Emmett Mosley, who I think is the most skilled I've seen of the receivers of playing the position of receiver. And then you have Dalen McCutcheon, who we haven't really seen it come to fruition on the field, but constantly behind the scenes since he stepped foot on campus has been like someone that they think is going to have a bright future and an NFL future. So I'd have Mosley and then Dalen in the slot. And then, of course, you have Wingo at Z at that move position, catching screens, and then force Jermaine Bishop behind him as well. And I think that way you can get your 6 across, and they actually have potential to actually play. But who knows? That's just me. That's just kind of wishful thinking too on my end.
Sark likes to find 3 guys and ride them, right?
Yep.
I mean, the hope is that Bishop is just so gifted with the ball in his hands. You just have to create offense for him. You've got to have some plays for him. And I almost think that the position doesn't matter because Sark doesn't think of receiver that way. Think about what he did at Alabama when he was loaded at wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He had guys Devontae Smith lined up at every position on the field,
Yep.
including running back, and then he'd motion out before the play. And like, you can do that kind of stuff with Bishop, and you can do that stuff with even Wingo, right? Because he's such an impressive guy laterally and in terms of swing passes and stuff. So I think we're just going to have to evaluate Bishop against college athletes and see if that all translates. I suspect it will, but he's also a true freshman. So we'll see. I loved what Lockett showed against Michigan. Like just ball winning downfield, body control. That's hugely helpful, especially opposite hash from like Cam Coleman, right? Running his go route.
You can't teach that, by the way. That's almost one of those innate kind of wide receiver. You can't teach like in the air body control like that. You have it or you don't.
No, I love when people credit like wide receiver coaches with like that kind of stuff. And it's like the guy did nothing. I mean, that's just his parents did that.
Yep.
McCutcheon, you always hear great stuff behind the scenes. Against Michigan, he was poor. So we've got to obviously see him level up. But boy, I just really like this wide receiver room. It's a good blend of experience, talent, body types, just everything you want. The ideal world, you kind of want a wide receiver room that looks like a basketball team, right?
Yeah.
You want the little shifty guys. You want the big, tall guys that can win downfield. I just think we fit that. And there's some talented guys. There's going to be some unhappy guys because there's going to be intense competition. And Sark ain't going to play 7 dudes. He's going to play 3 or 4. So
he corrects me. I don't know how he does it when he lands like these 5-star freshmen. I'm like, I would love to hear that pitch because like it's not a pitch that I'm going to rotate you.
Well, this is also a room that you don't have to enforce a vitality curve because the guys who don't get balls will transfer out. So,
and I thought we had addition by subtraction. This last year with. You had Moore, which was asking for too much money, and I'm not mad at Moore. Like, go do your thing. But he negotiated every year. I mean, he negotiated out of high school with Rutgers and that. Like, he's very much money influenced, and there's nothing wrong with that. Best of luck to him. But I thought clearing up Cap from that was solid. And then Livingston was a weird one because I liked him, but if you go to OU after, clearly I had a wrong mental eval on you, and then he puts out like this kind of cryptic message. It's basically just like, I love Texas, but I was ran out the door, and that's just not what I heard occurred. And so I think you had some addition by subtraction there. And then shout out Cohen Brown and Chris Stewart too, man. Like those are going to be players as well. Well-rounded wide receivers on top of that. So I want to make sure that I just mentioned them quickly.
Yeah, Cohen Brown, if you watch his high school tape, like very, very subtle, like that's a guy I want a red shirt and like convinced to stick around and sell him a longer term plan.
Exactly. Tight end. You get Mizunis, which is funny because I've been begging for a blocking tight end. This was the year that I was like, all right, we need to replace the slot tight end, and that's when they get the blocker. I think losing injuries, like I would have liked to have injuries back. To really have like that clear Mizunis as a blocker, injuries as the slot. But I'm okay with how this room shook out with our younger talent there. But Mizunis can actually like base block in line. That's really big. He's not very fast, right? So like hopefully he can pick you up some little 5-yarder sit down routes, which is really what you need from your tight end in a traditional offense. So I thought that was a big move first off, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, classic tight end, 6'6", 260, Big Ten guy, like all the stereotypes, right? But it's badly what we needed. Connor, that must have been just like Christmas for you.
Well, I watched an interview with him the first thing, and they asked him, like, what do you like to do? And the first thing he listed was block. He's like, I like to block and I like to catch passes. Modern receivers I like to catch passes and then block. So just him saying blocking first, I was like, this is a rare thing we've found there. Spencer Shannon. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say an exciting thing to kind of pair with him is Townsend and Emery Winston. Both dynamic guys, both can catch. More kind of that like move tight end H-back role or the old traditional H-back. And I really like those guys. And Nick Townsend doesn't mind contact. He likes violent contact. And then Winston is a guy that we know can get open. The question is, what's the best pairing? What's the best way to do this? Because we've got these gifted wide receivers. Hey, doesn't matter how good we are at wide receiver. Stark is still going to like 12 personnel. We're still going to do a little 13 personnel. We did a whole deep dive on that you guys might find interesting. That'll be a situational deal, but I really like the tight end room. It's improved itself considerably. Spencer Shannon, you were mentioning, I mean, he's a veteran.
He did improve down the stretch. Like his tape looked better versus Michigan than I expected. And if you want to do a true 12 at any point, I think you could do a Masunas Shannon. Now they're not there to catch like a true, like we are in 12 to road grade potential. We'll have to see with offensive line caveat, but I think that potential is there too, flexibility wise.
So Shannon's better against smaller athletes because he's long and he's got pretty decent feet and athleticism. He can get on them. The issue that he has is when you're that body type, when you're 6'6", 6'7", and you're not a particularly gifted receiver, you got to drive your body weight up. You got to get up to 270. And then you got to try to like embrace that mashing identity, 265, 270. He didn't break till 250 till last year. And he's been here, 3-4 years? So I think that you have to get him to buy into that identity in this offseason if he wants to be used in that way. If he lines up head up on a defensive end, like a Georgia defensive end, he's not going to win that battle. We're not running downhill behind him. So I think that's the issue with him.
And then shout out Will Randall, man, living the life, right? You can just all the frat parties, all the fun of college, but also you get to be on the Texas Longhorns. Hey, man, shout out, man. I'm not mad at you at all. But tight end room definitely looking up from last year, even though I will miss the receiving ability of injuries, even though I thought we misused him horrifically. But still feel comfortable with this room. Now we're in a room that's not controversial at all, Paul, which is offensive line. Everyone feels great about it. No one even has an opinion. I barely heard a peep about offensive line, but I guess we can discuss it. Trevor Goosby's out for the spring. That's the first thing you have to know. And it's not so much that Goosby's out for the spring and I would like him to have that development, but that's not what I'm worried about. They're going to likely move Brandon Baker to left tackle, and you would be like, great, we got Melvin Siani right at right tackle and Baker at left tackle, but Baker might play guard next year and is likely probably to play guard next year. And so in the spring, he's not really getting the bulk of guard reps. That's what I don't like about this, even though he will be tackle number 3 if one of those guys goes down during the season. But that's just kind of a tough thing that sticks out to me first with the tackle rotation.
Let me steel man what the coaches would tell you. Kojo's coming off an injury. We don't know how ready he's going to be. So next year, who's our number 3 tackle?
Yeah, it's Baker.
It's Baker. So these are still valuable reps for him. It's still, and you also want to be able to run your offense, Connor.
Well, that's the worst part. If you have a left tackle that Arch is getting sacked in practice every day.
That's it. Yeah. So, I mean, Colin Simmons is still out there. Zeno Mazulu is still out there. Lance Jackson's out there. You have to be able to run your offense. So I know people are like, well, put John Turntine out there. Let's get him some reps. It's like, well, you're not going to be able to run your offense. So that's the problem. And so that would be the argument is we're getting reps for our number 3 tackle because, God forbid, knock on wood, if a tackle does get an injury next year, Brandon Baker is going out there for either Siani or Goosby. So, and then we reshove and people say, well, what about guard? Well, that's your priority is tackle inside. The idea of any functioning offensive line is that you should have multiple guard options.
We'll talk about that.
We didn't have that last year because we blew a bunch of evaluations and we blew development and we're not going to reprise all that. But the fact is it should be easier to replace a guard with a functional player than a tackle. So that's why we're doing it. And you could be upset that Trevor Goosby's hurt, but he's hurt.
Right.
This is what I would do if I was the offensive line coach. So I don't think it's crazy or anything.
Yeah, that's the thing is I'm complaining, but I don't have a better solution.
That's the issue, right?
My only solution is that, well, what if Kojo is really good at left guard or left tackle? That'll get figured out in the spring, right? But yeah, I don't have a true solution for it. It's more just me going like, oh man, whenever I think about being best for offensive line. Of course, I'm hypersensitive to offensive line. John Turntine also got mentioned in Eric's piece about a player that's hitting the weights and eating a lot of. He needs to gain significant size pretty quickly to maximize. And then some other, Chapman, player that's like in the mix, but you can't really figure out like, why is he not taking? Why is he? Maybe that next step comes during spring because it's a player that I've tried to pay attention to throughout his time.
And I do know that he's a utility guy that they feel comfortable playing guard or tackle.
Right.
We don't see him. He doesn't play.
Right.
And if there's a guy that was useful that we needed to play last year, it was someone at guard, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there was something going on with him. Maybe he had a minor injury, and because he didn't play, he wasn't making the injury reports. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. What's up with Kojo recovery? Eric said that he's like back in workouts. He's just not doing any of the like crazy agility, meaning like he's not going to cut on that knee, right? He's not going to do cone drills, that kind of stuff. But he's working his way back into the mix, according to our main man, Eric. All right. Interior was the real problem last year. Texas took a strange route in the portal here. There were big names that never came to fruition. They had that part. They just didn't really have a middle class like running back, how they were like, okay, no Baugh, okay, Brown. Okay, no Brown, Isaac Brown, okay, then Smothers. They just didn't really have that work that well on interior offensive line. You get Connor Robertson back, which is good, and it's an experienced center, but basically the word was like Connor will come back if they ask him to come back, which is weird because it's like I would like them to have been like, he's coming back, because I didn't even want that dialogue to happen. Why would you say that? And so, it's just
You're
weird.
like a woman trying to parse text messages.
No, but it's like he was doing the whole like thing post TAF of like looking at the field and like, look, we don't know the good times till we're out of them, brother. It would just make him come back. Basically, what they're saying is, if we can find a better player than you, we're not going to ask you to come back. And so asking him by come back is deducing that they didn't find the better player. But whatever.
If
Paul doesn't believe words have meaning in any concept of football. He thinks it's all PR work.
If Connor texts me, where do you want to eat tonight? And I just say wherever, like all lowercase.
Well, Paul's just like, you can't, nothing in press conferences matter. Nothing in the, it's like, Paul, people do say words sometimes that have meaning. But Robertson comes back. You get that experience. Now Robertson is all about increasing his floor. He doesn't have the ceiling. You can't create the ceiling for Connor Robertson. You can lift the floor to where he's not making mistakes and his technique gets stronger. So just don't give up sacks. Don't bend at the waist. That kind of stuff is what I look for there. And of course, be smart. You're a center. Any thoughts on Robertson?
Be smart. You're a center.
Pretty much. And then Lawrence Seymour, another weird one. I like Lawrence Seymour. I like his tape. But it's just like, why are you betting on somebody who could get rejected by the NCAA? It's just, it was a weird process here. I hope he doesn't get rejected. I like Lawrence Seymour. I think he will. He's a starter for you for sure at guard. But you are kind of in limbo, and no one knows when that gets resolved. That's just whenever the NCAA decides yes or no. And if they say no, now you've got to dispute it and go to court and all of that. So if you get Seymour, great. If you don't, what are we doing here? So that's my thought. Any thoughts there on Seymour's actual game?
Yeah, I mean, I think he seems to be a pretty good pass protector. Obviously, he played at Western Kentucky, Conference USA. That's the worst of the G5 conferences. They're not good. So it's hard to know. He did play LSU, and it was okay in that game. That's just one data point. So, I think he can come in and upgrade that left guard position. I don't think that's asking much.
Right.
But, we'd like to get him eligible. We want him playing. And again, without the offensive line, we've got 2 or 3 guys that we really like. And then the key is just don't have an outlier. Don't have a guy that's so bad that drags us down, right? And don't have 2 next to each other. So if we can get Connor Robertson and Lawrence Seymour to be good or like above average or average,
right. Sound.
That's a huge improvement because Goosby's going to be good. Baker is a good player. He's just He's not very strong, but he's got great feet. He's athletic. He tries hard. And then Siani is really good. We kind of glossed over him, but he was
Yeah,
really
we did.
good.
Why? Yeah, he's great.
He was really good at Wake. He's basically a junior Trevor Goosby, like 6'6", long. He's not a big, bulky guy, but he's got good feet. He's long. He's kind of quick. I mean, the whole offensive line screams outside zone. Like, this is what I would be just drilling like crazy with these guys all offseason, and then have a couple of man or gap concepts as change-ups. But, man, I would be an outside zone run team.
And then you bring in Sikorsky, Oregon State. He wants to be a ranch owner in the future. So there you go. Go to Texas, right? Start scouting the ranches. Check out the cattle. And then to me, ideally in the perfect world, he's depth, and then he grows into a starter. I don't feel great if he ends up as a starter. But once again, we'll see. I'm not saying he can't, but in the perfect world, to me, he's a depth future starter.
Yeah, weirdly, his best games were against the best teams they played.
Yeah.
And then he struggled against some, lesser teams. So kind of interesting. I think the tendency of coaches is to look at the upside tape and go, okay, that's the guy we can get, right? And then you downgrade, you denigrate, or you kind of look away from the lesser tape and go, we can fix that. He crossed his feet there or whatever, right? So, they always will like the upside. And he was a pretty good pass protector against Oregon, who has some guys on their D-line. I don't think he's a great run blocker. He's not very explosive, but we haven't had explosive run blockers at guard in a while.
Which is so weird because you can tell it's in our evaluation. Like you can like the run blocking is like 9th on the list. Even with guys we pull in, a lot of it's just like we're looking for feet first, and then we can try to figure out everything after that. Jackson Christian is somebody that Eric has heard a bunch about when he was, he still is young, but on the scout being intense and getting after it. The Coleman brothers, same thing. They came in and were talking trash to the defensive line. So they have a little bit of mentality to them, which is good. But we'll have to see there. To me right now, it's Trevor Goosby, left tackle, Baker, probably left guard, Robertson center, Seymour right guard, Siani right tackle, right guard, because that's generally our more run blocking focused. And Seymour did have good run blocking technique from watching his tape. And then also the problem with your left guard and left tackle is they isolate pass rushers on your left tackle, meaning that they'll put an end on the left tackle so he has to guard him, and then they'll put a 3-tech where the guard is. That way you're getting 2 pass rushes to the weak side. And so your left guard should be a better pass blocker as well. And Baker there as a guard should be able to solve that.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, with the upgrades, Arch is going to be better. Obviously with a full year under his belt. We upgraded running back. We upgraded wide receiver. We should upgrade offensive line.
Upgrade to average, right?
Yeah. I mean, this offensive football team should be higher floor and higher ceiling, which is a good combo.
I agree. You guys should have an Inside Texas. Join for $1. New members, get over there, man. The guys in the chat that are already on the board are telling you, don't waste any time. Hurry up. We'd love to see you over there. Paul, thank you so much, man. Thank you for being sick and gutting it out too, man. All right. This was IT Live, and it was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Everyone have a wonderful day, and peace.